first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this air distribution box. You have a 8mm here, and then you also have an 8mm under here that connects to the throttle body. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the cap out of the oil, okay, because it's also being grabbed on by the cap. So we're going to remove the 8mm here first. The other 8mm clamp is going to be down here. You see it right there connected to the throttle body. So I'm going to insert an extension and an 8mm, and I'm going to remove that. Once you unloosen this, the 8mm clamp on the throttle body and the oil fill plug or cap, you're going to remove this from here, and this should all come out. Oh, I forgot, you also got to remove this hose here. Just take some clamps and remove this hose. Now this should come out. You can just put it on the side. Make sure you put the cap back on so that you don't run the risk of accidentally dropping something in there. So if you take a look here, that's a thermostat right here with the two 10mm, but it also has the main upper radiator hose attached here, and also another hose that is attaching to the reservoir here. You know, here you can choose to leave them on if you think you can change the thermostat that way. I'm going to actually remove both. I'm going to remove this large hose as well as this hose from here, just so I can get ease of access to this and it won't interfere when I'm trying to put the thermostat. So I'm going to take both of those hoses off first. Okay, just remove that, and then I'm going to use a pick tool so that I can get in here and loosen this hose up, because right now it's not letting me remove it. I'm going to use a pick tool right here. Okay, so I'm going to use this hose pick tool so I can loosen up the hose here. I'm just going to attach it as so and just give it some movement here. This is just going to loosen up that hose. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, just go all the way around. Okay, until the hose is, there we go. Okay, make sure you have something to hold the coolant. Okay guys, I'm taking another look. I'm actually not going to remove this hose because one, the clamp is located in a difficult angle that I'm probably gonna struggle to get. So I'm just gonna remove this 10mm bolt right there and this 10mm bolt right there, and then I'm just going to remove the thermostat from there. You should have enough slack from this hose, so let's do that. Okay guys, once you remove those two 10mm bolts, you should be able to just move this housing to the side. Of course, be careful with these cables. As you can see, this vehicle has the wire harness that has gotten too hard and it cracked. So just make sure you don't damage the wires or anything that's connected to the hose. Don't put too much pressure, just move it to the side, and now you're able to see the thermostat. So I'm gonna get something to take that out. I'm going to use this pick tool that I use for the hose. I'm just going to give it a little pressure and it should come out. There we go. Here's a view of the old thermostat. Okay guys, next you're going to take a rag. Let me just focus the camera. And you're just going to get all around the area. Just dry it up as much as you can, because that's where the thermostat is going to sit. Okay, let me focus the camera. right? And also the housing, just make sure, look under here, make sure it doesn't have any dirt or residue. Just, you know, wipe it with a napkin or with a rag, anything you got, and just by visual inspection make sure you don't have anything stuck to it, and so it can be a smooth seal. Okay guys, this is the new thermostat. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drop it in there, okay, this way, and then I'm gonna make sure it sits flush around that area, okay, and from there, once I verify that it's sitting flush in that area, I can go ahead and install my housing. Okay guys, you see it's nice and flush around that whole area. Okay, make sure you clean anything you have around extra. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and put the housing on. This shouldn't really move because, you know, it's actually sitting down and the actual weight of the thermostat is sitting on the actual area here, compared to those thermostats that are, let's say, facing vertically, that fall as soon as you put them on. This one's actually pretty easy because it just stays on there. So go ahead and put the housing. Okay guys, I'm about to tighten the housing. Okay, I'm gonna put the torque specifications in the next part of this video or in the next slide so you can tighten them correctly. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the hose back on. Okay guys, you can see the new thermostat inside. Now let's put these hoses back in place. Okay, and I'm gonna reuse this clamp because this clamp is good. Put it in the same area to seal up this hose with the housing. Now, I find these clamp pliers to be very effective at grabbing the clamps and having very good flexibility from a long distance. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide that in place. Okay guys, the clamp is in place. Okay, I use a little bit of water from my hose or from any water source, so I can just any crevices that coolant got into that it's not gonna be able to go escape, I just put water just to basically flush out any coolant that might have gotten trapped in under here. So I just put water on there. Now I'm going to basically install everything in reverse order, and then the next scene is going to be putting coolant and just letting it run. Okay guys, so I got coolant here. Okay, remember, Chevrolet uses orange. Make sure you use the appropriate color for the appropriate manufacturer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill the whole reservoir with this coolant, and if it needs more, I'm just gonna fill it with water, the rest, and then we're going to crank it up. Okay guys, I went a little bit over, but that's fine because the fill cold sign is right here. But that's okay. Once the vehicle gets to operating temperature, the thermostat is going to open, and the level's probably going to drop a bit. And if there's any antifreeze that I need to add after the fact, we're going to add it. So right now it's okay. We're going to top it off, or we're going to put top back on, and then we're going to crank it up. Okay, in this system you don't necessarily have to burp it or bleed it, because since the reservoir is higher than the actual block, you know, the coolant is actually being pushed to all the areas and filling those air gaps or those spaces, compared to the radiators that have the radiator lower than the actual head. Then that you know, that weight is not going to push that coolant upwards. Okay, so since this one is higher, it's pushing that weight of the coolant, is pushing the coolant everywhere and filling up those air gaps or there's those air pockets. Okay, so just fill it up and close it and go ahead and crank it up. Okay guys, I cranked the vehicle up. Make sure the setting for the temperature is at the heat setting, just so that the coolant can travel to the heater core. Okay guys, so the vehicle is running. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to wait till the fans come on. at the correct temperature, depending on the coolant temperature sensor. Once we can verify that the fans come on in the appropriate temperature and they function correctly, they turn on and then turn back off, turn on, turn back off, you know, getting the vehicle, maintaining the vehicle operating temperature, then we can verify that there is enough coolant. Make sure that your heat control is set to the highest. Make sure you're able to feel heat, because it verifies that the vehicle has sufficient amount of coolant and is able to travel through the heater core and give you warm air, okay, or hot air. So make sure you verify that. Just to make the process quicker, I'm going to accelerate the vehicle to about 2500 RPM. Just maintain it there, you know, let the temperature get to operating temperature. So I'm just going to maintain it about 2500 RPM. The fans have not come on yet, but I can verify that this hose is hot to the touch. And this hose, where the thermostat is, I can tell it's opening because I'm feeling it warm. It's actually getting hot to the touch. So the thermostat opened already. All I'm waiting for is the fans to turn on. So just like I said, I don't have a scanner. I don't know what temperature the motor is in at the moment, but I can verify from the operating fans. If they cycle on and off like they're supposed to, then, and the coolant is where it's supposed to be, then that's good enough for me. Alright guys, see the fans turn on. Okay, bring the engine back to idle. The fans are coming on at the appropriate speed. Okay guys, as you can see, our coolant dropped a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the car off now that I verify that the fans are correctly functioning. Cut it off, let it cool down, and then I'm just going to add enough to keep it at level again. Okay guys, so if you found this video useful, go ahead and tap on that subscribe button, and you can send me a comment, post a comment on future videos you like to make, or if you really appreciated this video. So thank you so much.